New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest Ace dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for ArtsBeat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Love's like a road that you travel on, when it's one day here and the next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn your back to the wind.
There's a world outside every dark and dark, where the blues don't haunt you anymore, where the brave are free and love is soar. Come ride with me to the distant shore. We won't hesitate to break down the garden gate. There's not much time left today. Yeah. Life is a highway. I won't ride it all night long. If you're going my way, I won't drive it all night long. Through all these cities and all these towns, it's in my blood and it's all around.
I loved you now like I loved you then.
This is the road and these are the hands.
From Mozambique to those Memphis nights, to the Cowboys past to Vancouver's lights.
Knock me down, back up again.
You're in my blood, I'm not a lonely man.
There's no road I can hold, the road's so rough, this I know. I'll be there when the light comes in, tell them we're survivors. Life is a highway, I won't ride it all night long. If you're going my way, I won't drive it all night long. There was a distance between you and I, a misunderstanding once, but now we look it in the eye. There's no road I can hold, the road's so rough, this I know. I'll be there when the light comes in, tell them we're survivors. Life is a highway, I won't ride it all night long. If you're going my way, I wanna drive it all night long. Gimme, 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 yeah, life is a highway, I wanna ride it all night long. If you're going my way, I wanna drive it all night long. Gimme, 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 yeah.
And good morning and welcome to Superintendent Spotlight, broadcasting live from beautiful Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy. It is 9:06 in the morning, 72 degrees in studio, but I think it's a little colder outside, Mrs. Dargy. What do you think?
A little bit chilly again.
Yeah, isn't it funny how we're this is New England, right? So we've reverted back to March and May. Yesterday, Westfield Tech boys baseball at Putnam at Blunt Park in Springfield. Last game of the regular season. It felt like the first game of the regular season. It was freezing with the wind. It was unbelievable. But that's where we live.
That's New England. Right? And
that's
it'll
right.
change soon, and we'll be back to spring and summer before we know it.
And it would be nice to actually have a spring this year, right? Like if we had a few weeks of, 70s, right? Doesn't that sound great?
Yes.
So it is the 18th of May, and we were discussing. We've been discussing all week how fast this school year has gone by, and we're literally 4 more weeks of school, and then that one extra half day on June 20th, and then that's it for 22-23.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, and then we start 10 summer programs, but that's a story for a different day.
Yes.
So, as everybody can probably tell by now, Zap is not with us today. Mr. Zaporowski's not here. So, in his stead, in his place, is the MVP of co-hosts for Superintendent Spotlight, our esteemed curriculum director, Mrs. Dargy. Susan, how is everything this morning?
Everything is wonderful.
And who are our guests on this amazing Thursday at May 18th? I almost said March 18th.
Well,
It feels like it outside.
That's right,
does.
Pete.
We are fortunate today to have Mrs. Alexandra Kleins, principal of Munger Hill Elementary School, and Mrs. Valerie Smart-Tedimer, tech teacher at Munger Hill Elementary School. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a lot today with Munger Hill Elementary School, obviously. But today, as being May 18th, and correct me if I'm wrong, Susan, but today is I Love Reese's Day.
Yes, a very important day for a very special candy.
Right. So when I think Reese's, ladies, correct, fill in the blanks here. I instantly go to peanut butter cups. Like that's the first thing. But
Oh, yeah.
what about Reese's Pieces? You like those?
The OG is the peanut butter cup.
Yeah.
I am not as big a fan of Reese's Pieces as I am of the peanut butter cups. but
Gotcha.
I will have to say the all-time best, which has been discontinued for many years, were the Reese's Inside Out peanut butter cups. They had the peanut butter on the outside and the chocolate on the
Yeah,
inside.
I remember
I
those.
do not remember those.
They were
But-
very good.
Our superintendent is a big fan of peanut butter cups.
He definitely is.
As am I. And he has tried and shared many different varieties, and there is a quest to
Yes.
find the right ratio. There is a sweet spot, no pun intended, ratio of peanut butter to chocolate that some of the holiday versions
Right.
don't achieve, but
Right.
they're out there. You just need to find
Well, speaking of the holiday versions, when Easter came and went, there was, I think they had obviously they have the peanut butter eggs, which are like the greatest thing ever created. But then there's a white chocolate version of that too.
Right.
That's amazing. What do you think, Val?
I am not a big fan of white chocolate. My favorite is dark chocolate and milk chocolate all the way with Reese's peanut butter.
Oh, that's
inside.
I don't know if I've had a dark
They're
chocolate
so good.
Reese's peanut butter cup, but that sounds pretty good.
They
sure.
are delicious.
Well, anyway, the reason we bring that up is, every week on Superintendent Spotlight, we celebrate, whatever day it was. Just a couple of weeks ago, it was Star Wars Day, as May the 4th be with you. That's probably one of our best shows of the year, but I have a feeling today with Reese's Day, we're gonna get close to topping that. Chef Rogers and the gang from WTA Culinary, they're working on a surprise for us as we speak. So for segment 3, ladies, I hope you're ready to celebrate Reese's Day in grand fashion.
Absolutely.
All right.
Definitely.
So let's move off of that and let's talk about Munger Hill. So first things first, Mrs. Kleins, what do you got for us today? What's going on that you want to talk to our listening audience about?
Well, I was just going to kind of give you an update on the whole of Munger Hill.
That sounds
It has
great to
been
me.
A really great year. We have a lot to celebrate as we move into these last 4 weeks. Just talking about some of the basics. Our attendance has increased this year.
Yes, it has.
Yep. Mr. Rogers sends us every month our attendance numbers to make sure we're on top of all
Actually,
of that.
it's every 2 weeks or so, but I'm
Feels
glad
like a month, though.
Yeah.
doesn't
it feels like a month though, because when it comes, it's like, oh, here he goes again. But I do want to shout out you on that for a second, because one of the things that the audience may not know, and is it okay if I say this, was when Mrs. Kleins joined us from Springfield, and some of our initial conversations were, What's the first thing we want to do? And one of your goals right away was to decrease the amount of chronically absent students and to increase your daily attendance rate at Munger Hill. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and we have succeeded in both of those. We are up to 93.5% attendance and down to 16.55% chronically absent. And when you get to the heart of it, it's making sure that the kids are wanting to come to school each day, that there's something that they have to look forward to, a great connection with a teacher,
Absolutely.
exciting programs like Mrs. Smart-Teddimer is going to talk about in a little bit, but really just kind of increasing that excitement to come to school each day. And, and I think we're achieving that this year.
Excellent job. And we know that we have students who have some learning gaps that we're working on, and being in school every day is the foremost way to ensure that we're able to close those gaps for kids.
Absolutely. And part of the way to get them excited are some of the programs that we've been putting in. We had a trial of Project Lead the Way down in our first grade, and we're really excited. That's going to be coming in full force next year, and that is really hands-on integrated learning for our students where they are going to be building things and researching. It's getting them out of their desks more, which I think is part of the excitement for our students coming in.
Very engaging.
Want to know a little bit more?
I would.
Sure. So
that's normally I'm never at a loss for words. But when someone said Project Lead the Way, I was like, all right, let's dive into that, because we've talked about Project Lead the Way on the air before several times, but the scope of it is what I'm most impressed with in our district. If you remember when Project Lead the Way started, right, we were smaller cohort.
Started smaller at the middle and high school back in 2019, middle school, high school, and Franklin Avenue School. And from there, it has grown, and we now have a pre-K to 12 pathway that will be in place next year so that students are able to take science, tech, and engineering courses at every level. So Munger Hill is one of our schools that is adopting next year. You already have a champion who is excited and who's already been trained in doing it herself.
Yep,
right?
Miss Kubik in first grade, she piloted it for us this year and did a couple of the modules with the students. And so you might walk in and see the kids with tuning forks and working on different sound experiments. They're talking about bridges, all kinds of really exciting things.
It is exciting to see. And it's impressive to see what our youngest learners are able to do with coding. We had preschool students doing unplugged coding with spots on the floor, Rosie's Runtime. And Mrs. Smart-Teddimer, in your tech class, you will also be implementing Project Lead the Way.
Yes,
right?
that is correct. I will be getting trained in the near future and have already spoken with Lindsay Ayers about, which module I will be teaching next year.
Excellent. And Lindsay Ayers is our STEM coach at the elementary level, and she is the champion training, along with Lauren Figge, our science supervisor. They are training teachers across the district. And so as part of your tech lab transforming into this STEM room, and you've taught science as part of technology for years. You were sort of a trailblazer with that in the tech.
Yes, when I first started, I taught both science and technology. So I taught 2 units for 3rd grade and 4th grade and all of K through 2 science curriculum in addition to technology. And since then, I love science, so I've always incorporated a fair amount of science in with all of the technology standards that I teach currently.
So you must be excited for this change.
Definitely.
Because it's bringing you back to merging those two.
Yes,
together.
it was very exciting meeting with Lindsay. She showed me all about Project Lead the Way because I really didn't know too much about it. As you said, it's newer to the elementary schools, but she was showing me the different modules and I think you'd be great at this one, whichever, ones you'd like.
Great. Yeah. So what else is happening at Munger Hill?
We are finishing up our first year of Girls on the Run with our 3rd and 4th graders. And so Girls on the Run, if you don't know, is a program that kind of teaches critical life skills and aims to help the students that are involved in it build confidence in a variety of different ways. So our coaches, and we have teachers and parent volunteers who are coaches, they go to training and they get the lessons and everything that they need to be able to implement it. And then twice a week we have 15 students, 15 girls who stay after.
That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, they stay for an hour and a half after school, and they do these different lessons to help build not only their health and physical habits, but mental habits as well. Gives them strategies for managing their emotions, resolving conflict, and helping others.
And that's totally volunteer.
That's all
effort.
voluntary. Yep.
And that's credit to our teachers who are taking that on and giving up their time to further help students after school. I think we have Girls on the Run happening at
I think it's at
several of
Southampton
our
Road,
schools.
too.
Yep, and I think the intermediate
And West,
school
maybe.
and
Yep.
SRS.
Yeah, it's a really great project, and they're getting ready to do their 5K at the beginning of June. So there's this sort of big Western Mass Girls on the Run 5K that all the clubs from all the schools go and participate in. So our team was practicing the other day, and we had a lot of staff and parents out there kind of cheering them on as they did
Nice.
laps around the building, and they did ask me to come and do, and they were very kind. They walked with me instead of making me run as I went around. So I'm not a
Very
runner,
nice.
unfortunately.
Everyone, it's very inclusive.
Yes, they were.
And speaking of running, Pete, we're up against it, right? We're going to take our first break right now. And just a reminder to our listeners that every week we've got multiple songs in between breaks. And then we also have a little friendly competition for our guests, those that are at the table, to try to determine what year all of the songs that we're playing today were in the top 100. Okay, so not necessarily the year the song was released, but what year it was actually in the top 100. Pete, take it away, brother.
Number 56.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart is out. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads we have to walk are winding, and all the lights that lead us there are blinding. There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. Because maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my Today was gonna be the day, but they'll never throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you're not to do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads that lead you there were winding, and all the lights that light the way are blinding. There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. I said maybe
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
And welcome back to Superintendent Spotlight. That was Wonderwall by Oasis, and it was number 56 on the Billboard Top.
It was all over it. Wow. She's awesome, man.
I've been in training for six or 7
You're doing great. Love it. Okay. And that's only one of 4, though. So, folks, keep in mind, again, what year, not necessarily the year the song came out, but what year it was in the top 100, right? So
sometimes he throws a curveball.
He does, yeah. Mm-hmm. He got me last week with, you remember, he got me last week with Living in America by James Brown.
Yeah, because that was a hit over 2 years.
Right, and it was a hit over 2 years, and all I thought of, Pete, was what? Rocky IV.
Yep.
Right, so I instantly went to 85 when the reality it was 86. So I think I'm 7 for my last 10.
Yeah,
so,
you're doing much better than I am.
Yeah. But
I don't peak.
I already know this. As soon as Oasis came on and Wonderwall, I already know what it is.
Early 90s, right?
You pictured yourself.
I think it's early 90s.
I pictured myself.
Maybe a tank top with the blazer, the mullet.
No, that was.
I think I played this at a wedding.
That's the wrong decade, Mrs. Dargy. Okay. That was the 80s. Okay. We're in the 90s. I'll give everybody a hint. As most people know, we're in the 90s this one. So coming back from break, are we up and running with our presentation?
Have you noticed I changed something in the little...
I saw that.
Yes.
There it is.
So we're going to turn this over right now because we are very excited to hear about Mrs. Tedimer's Spotlight Library, right, and the program she's got going on. So, Mrs. Tedimer, take it away.
All right, thank you. Well, I've been using Book Creator, which is the name of the program, and it's a wonderful program. Kids can create books on a variety of different topics you might think of with a book, like reading, anything with literacy. However, they can also create books with mathematics, science, history, or they can just create books for relaxation.
Sure.
So in the past, for several years, I've always used this program with 3rd and 4th grade. And the reason is because the licenses that we had were very restrictive. So it was hard to use it with a lot of students. But this year, we were very fortunate that we have this wonderful license that pretty much will give us unlimited books. So I've been able to do multiple projects with the students, and I branched out with 2nd grade. I first want to talk about, I usually just like to introduce the program and get the kids to really love it. So around Christmas time, I just say, the holidays can be stressful for some kids.
Sure.
Going with different family members and just different things. So I like to do a relaxing activity. So I let them just love creating a book by just doing like my favorite holiday things. So whatever holidays they celebrate, whatever things they love most about the holiday season and winter, they can just relax in class and put it to a book. So I have a couple of books that I would like to show you.
Sure.
Of what the students did in December.
Wow.
The title is the same for all of them. And you can see, like, this child actually took pictures from her own house, and she incorporated them. And then she also took some pictures. She uploaded them from the web.
And folks, for those of you that are listening and can't see at home, we're seeing amazing work being done by some of our kids. Quite honestly, when I see this, I think about, this is stuff that high school kids used to do 10, 15 years ago. We now have this down in our elementary schools, and it's just amazing work.
Oh, thank you. The kids always love, and I always suggest for them to do the comic book, because as you can see, they can create these great templates, which give them like cool pictures, and I show them so the pictures fit perfectly into the spaces. And then I think there's one more holiday book. And this
Wait, can we go back to that first one? I was waiting for that. I was waiting for the picture of the kid saying, I love winter break because I can stay in and sleep and not go to school.
I said, what is that X? Oh, no schoolwork.
No school.
I get it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Incredible. Great.
And Mrs. Stedmer, the students come up with their own text to go with the pictures as well?
Absolutely. For this project, I really don't give them very many parameters. I just say, I show them, a sample, but I say you can put anything that you love about the holidays, text or no text. It can just be pictures, or you can incorporate some text. So from that program in December, this year I started something different. I went into second grade classrooms, and I did a multi-week, probably like 9, 10, 11 weeks into each second grade classroom. And the classroom that I went in on the given day, I would teach the lesson in the morning, and then they would go to lunch, and then I would come back and I would work with them in their centers or for like an hour, hour and a half after their lunch. And I collaborated with the teachers as to what they were learning in school, and then developed a project that would kind of reinforce what they were learning in reading, social studies, and science. So we started off very, very small, and I will have you go to the first book, which is Eleanor's book. So each second grade student, their title of their book was just their name.
Nice.
First name, because they were going to be creating other projects, each time I came. So on the left, you will see the first project was they were to take a spelling word, and they were to write a sentence for that spelling word and then incorporate a picture. And one of the things they had to do with the spelling word was to highlight the spelling word. So I taught them that. Then they had to bold it, italicize it, and underline it. So in the first book, you can see it's a man kicking a soccer ball, and she said, I like kicking. Kicking was the spelling word. I like kicking because I play soccer. So that was her picture and her spelling word, and each student did, the very first day we met, the cover and that picture and sentence. We also tried to have them elaborate a little bit, as you'll see in some of the future books, like elaborate with different adjectives. The second project, they were working on animals, habitats, and what the animals eat. So they had to create a 3-picture template. They had to fill one picture with the animal, wild animal, no pets allowed, wild animal. Second space was to put the habitat or place where the animal lives. And the third place was what the animal eats. Then they had to create one sentence combining all three things.
Right.
And they had to expand. So not just a gray wolf, but a fluffy gray wolves. Fluffy gray wolves eat meat in the forest.
Nice.
So if you go to the next page, some of the kids that finished earlier, I said you can just create multiple pages using the same kind of like parameter. So this one is a snowman, and then snowmen obviously live in a snowy forest, and she said they like hot chocolate. And then she did dogs eat crunchies on the floor. The third project was the most difficult of all, but the second graders were learning about consumers, producers, goods, and services. So for this project, they had to create a 4-picture template. The 2 larger pictures, they had to give examples of a consumer and a producer. And then the 2 smaller pictures give examples of goods and or services. And then they had to write little captions covering all of it. So you can see this first one, she said, consumers buy vegetables at the grocery store. Producers are farmers, and they plant vegetables and fruit. And then for the goods and services, she did garden and fruit salads can be made from the goods. So that was just an example of that picture, of that project. And she had some extra time, so she just basically did puppies. You can tell she really liked it.
Who doesn't?
Right. The second one I have, this is Benjamin, also second grader. And you can see his first picture was the sentence with milk. So milk was his spelling word. And his sentence was, I like milk because it has calcium.
Oh, very good.
It's a good word.
Very good. And then his habitat project was a small crab looks for food while crawling on the ocean floor. So very good descriptive. And we tried to say, if you think of a basic sentence, write it down,
Sure.
but then expand on it.
Expand on it, right.
And so he did that very well. He did several others, a couple others. A small spider looks for food in the forest.
And apparently that moth is the
Food.
the food.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And then on his food, his goods and services, producer, consumer, he says, I grabbed an apple from a tree and made applesauce from it. The customer buys apples, and apples come from trees. So a little different take there, but his goods were apple juice and the actual apple.
Outstanding.
And it's a great way for the students to demonstrate their mastery of the science standard,
Absolutely.
the social studies standard that they're working on. So
Absolutely.
this is
And Book Creator is a
integration.
great way for students to demonstrate, as you said, but also for teachers to check for understanding, because the kids love doing it, and if they're given some creativity and they're not told exactly, like they get to pick their animal.
Love
they get
it.
To, research the internet and find out that. So it gives them a lot of creativity.
Well, you're giving them voice and choice, which is so important for human learning, right? Let alone when we're kids. So with that said, we're going to take our next break. Unbelievable, we're at 9:34. Still 72 degrees in the studio, though I think outside we're in the 40s now. But working its way up to probably mid-60s today. So Pete, let's take it away. Song number 2 from what year, again, was this in the top 100?
Number 66.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Welcome back to Superintendent Spotlight. We're here with Alexandra Kleins, principal of Munger Hill Elementary School, and Valerie Tedmer, our technology teacher at Munger Hill. We are missing our host, Mr. Rogers. I think he is still checking on a special surprise that may have to do with I Love Reese's Day. So I Love Reese's Day is observed every year on May 18th. The holiday was created by the Hershey Company in 2010 to celebrate the all-time favorite candy known as Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups are, in fact, the top of the list of best-selling candies today. And it was created in 1928 by Henry Burnett Reese, an employee of the Hershey Company. He began working on a dairy farm owned by Hershey, but later moved to the company's candy factory and started making Reese's in the basement of his home.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Goes
And then he
way
started
back.
his own company, actually. He split off from the company
Exactly.
when they were
Wait,
going to cut him out.
Did you get Stefan's notes too, Pete?
No, I watched this. I watched this on how the food that built America.
Oh, okay. Yes. And when he passed away, his company went to his 6 male children. Was that shown in the episode?
No, it talked about his beef with Hershey. He was buying chocolate from him. It was Hershey was going to stop doing dairy farming, and so he cut him out. He said, "You're let go. The whole farm is going to be let go." And so he says, "Well, okay, all right, that's fine."
But in the end,
He tried to get him to buy it.
it got sold back to him,
Right.
to Hershey in the end for $23.5 million in stock, and that was in 1963.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine the worth now.
It's like my grandfather had the opportunity when Coca-Cola first came out in bottles. He had an opportunity to buy big time stock in that company, and said to my grandmother, "Nah, I don't see this catching on." Yeah. So I could be on some yacht in the middle of the Atlantic or Pacific right now, but everything happens for a reason. I'm much happier to
Right.
be here.
Yeah.
Yes, I think. So anyway, as we move forward today with segment 3, what else we got going on at Munger Hill?
Well, so we talked about these great research projects that our second graders have done, and I do want to mention one more that they are working on right now. They are working on biography research projects, and so they have all chosen somebody of importance of some kind, and they are researching their lives. And next Thursday at 2 o'clock, we will have a living wax museum over at Munger. And Chris and Sue, I hope that you guys are going to come over and see, because the students are going to dress up like the person that they have researched, and they will be able to present some of the facts and information that they have learned.
Well, that sounds like
Did we get
something
is there
that we
an
should not
official?
miss.
Yeah. So say that again. The Living Wax Museum. What's the date on that?
It is on Thursday, the 25th, so a week from
Thursday,
today,
5:25.
at 2 o'clock at
All
Munger.
right. I will.
Okay.
I will make
I will
sure
be
that we
there.
are there.
Thank you. And Mrs. Tedmer, you had some projects that you wanted to talk about from other grade levels.
Yes. So in 3rd and 4th grade, I work with the students with research projects. So they're just learning research, and that is one of the state standards for technology. So they do research projects starting out in their classroom, not so much in 3rd grade, a little bit in 4th grade. But in 3rd grade, the students can choose an animal and then they research the facts. And then in 4th grade, they can choose, if they were not here the previous year, they can do an animal, but I really like them, and most kids chose a country. So they did a country. So I wanted to show you a couple of the books on the countries. So this is Lily's book, and she chose Japan. And
Awesome.
One of the great things about Book Creator is that the book can be read to students, so they can read it themselves, but if they maybe don't have the language, they can have it read to them. And also, they can have it read to them in many, many languages. So Munger Hill has a lot of students that English is not their first language.
Sure.
So they can actually choose their language, and the book will read it to them. So that's
wonderful.
Great. And I know I always give time for the kids to share their books with each other, and they can kind of like go around and read each other's books. So this one, she came up with some great facts. In Japan, especially in Osaka, there's a lot of cherry blossoms. And she said, look how pretty they are. Fun fact, cherry blossoms, petals are edible.
Every time I see cherry blossoms, it makes me think of one thing. Washington, D.C.
And they are beautiful there.
Yes, yes.
Yes. In Japan, lots of people wear kimonos and traditions and shrines. Usually they have flower patterns and parasols. So then on the next page, she did go into the different foods that they have. Obviously, sushi is a big one.
One of my top 10.
Yes, and then she also went into anime. So anime began over
Sure.
in Asia. So that was her book. And there you go. She said, that's the end. I hope you liked it.
You know what some of my favorite anime was growing up? And I don't know if ladies, if you remember Voltron. Is that ringing a bell?
That I remember Voltron.
Transformers?
In the 80s,
Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Vague memories
All right.
of that, yes.
And
What
then
was I-
G-Force? And is any of this ringing a bell?
No,
Oh my gosh.
nothing.
but of course we're all
G-Force
girls.
was Battle of the Planets.
Yes, that's right, Pete. It was Battle of the Planets, which, by the way, I think they're making a movie off of. I just read that the other day. There could be a movie in the works for Battle of the Planets.
Sorry, I was a Voltron Defender of the Universe fan.
I was too. And speaking of fans, here comes Chef Rogers. Come on in. We've got a little surprise for our guests today to celebrate National I Love Reese's Day. Oh my goodness.
Yummy, yummy.
And I hope ladies, that you did not eat breakfast this morning, because this is it right here. Tegan, do you want to come in and talk? Or?
It's actually Victoria.
Victoria, sorry.
Victoria's wearing Tegan's hat.
I went on that. I see that monstrous thing out there. Holy cow.
Victoria is not big on cameras.
Okay.
And
That's
I'm
okay.
totally fine with that. And I don't
Yeah.
ever want to force Victoria to do anything she's uncomfortable doing. However, what I will say is Victoria is probably, and I'm not taking away from any other student that we've ever had in culinary arts, but from a bakery and production, bakery pastry art production standpoint, she's in the top 2 I've ever seen come through this program. Wow. And I'll be honest with everybody, 80% plus is all on her. She's already has the natural talent, natural ability. She demos things at home. She cooks with her family. There's never been a thing that I can give Victoria that she looks at me and says, Chef, I don't know if I can do that. She just like, I got this, Chef. Takes off, runs with it. She's just phenomenal.
I'm just going to say this to hear. First of all, you're always, Chef Rogers, you're always so gracious with the way that you give feedback and the way that you prop up your kids. But I've never heard you say top 2% or top 2, period, right, in history of the program. So even if Victoria doesn't want to be on camera today, we're going to recognize her for her amazing work, and which, by the way, we can see, and soon we're going to taste. So, Victoria, thank you very much. Yeah, bring it in front of look at that.
Yeah, and so the other student who's the other top 2 just graduated from Johnson & Wales University with a bachelor's in science, and bacon pastry arts, and a little bit of restaurant management as well. And now she's up at UMass Amherst as a pastry chef full-time, loving every minute of it. In Victoria,
Awesome.
I don't know if you plan to go to college. I picture Victoria on the Food Network, even though she's camera shy now, doing like bacon and pastry just because she's so methodical. Like, what do you have in the oven right now?
It's like dessert called pavlova. It's like I make it with my family, and it's like a Russian-Ukrainian thing.
And the base of it is what? Meringue. It's almost like a meringue cookie, and I think she won't tell me what she's putting in it because she has all the creativity. And I didn't give her the recipe. She got it from the family and brought it in. Chef, can I try? Absolutely, you know. And she also made if anybody's coming to the restaurant, she made a chocolate mousse cake with whipped cream and chocolate ganache.
That sounds amazing.
Off the hook, unbelievable. And it looks better than anything you see in a magazine. You want to cut some slices for our guests?
You don't have to be on camera to do that.
Yep, we'll take you off camera.
It's okay, I'm not good at cutting cakes.
Well, so by the way, folks, and for those who are regular listeners and viewers of the show, you know that we do this pretty regularly. So, but this, you know, I was saying to Mrs. Kleins off the air, it's going to be hard to trump double cheeseburger day.
Mr. Rogers, that looks scrumptious.
Yeah, I was going to say, but Pete,
let me just be honest. That looks really good.
Well, I was just going to say, Pete, if there was anything that could trump double cheeseburger day, I thought it was going to be prime rib day, and that was close. But I have the feeling this could be the one.
We're going to get text from the superintendent because I'm sure he's watching at home going, you guys all stink.
Mr. Rogers, when was Prime Rib Day? Because I would like to come next year for that.
Yeah.
Well, it happened to fall on a Thursday, so.
It was last month, right? Yeah, no, because I had prime rib. I had prime rib for breakfast.
Yeah, we had brunch.
First week of May.
You have to look
Second
up
week.
National
Last
Prime
week of
Rib
April.
Day.
Last week of
Got
April.
it. Thank you.
And then put in your request to be on the radio.
Right. Because we didn't get any food on May the 4th be with you on Star Wars Day. And that made sense.
You
The
didn't get
superintendent
Wookiee
also
cookies?
for the buffet that day. He also
Hey, and I will say too, when Mr. Zaporowski first came to us with this national, whatever the food item is day, and we anticipated he's just celebrating one day.
nope.
Now it's every third, but we love it because it gives the students an opportunity to do something new.
cooking
and
outside of the
creative.
box.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, while Victoria's cooking, I should say. Sorry, I'm thinking of prime rib again. While she's cutting the cake, we're going to take our next break, Pete. Song number 3 from what year, folks? We'll be right back. Superintendent Spotlight.
Thank you.
Give me one reason to stay here, and I'll turn right back around. Give me one reason to stay here, and I'll turn right back around. Said I don't wanna leave you lonely. You gotta make me change my mind. Baby, I got your number. Oh, and I know that you got mine. You know that I called you. I called too many times. You can call me, baby. You can call me anytime. You got to call me. Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around. You can see me turning. Give me one reason to steer, and I'll turn right back around. You can see me turning. Said I don't wanna leave you lonely. You gotta make me change my mind. I don't want no one to squeeze me. They might take away my life. I don't want no one to squeeze me. They might take away my life. I just want someone to hold me. Oh, and rock me chasing you around, wasting my precious energy. Give me one reason to stay here, yes, not turn right back around. Give me one reason to stay here, oh, not turn right back around. Said I don't wanna leave you lonely, you gotta make me change my mind. Baby, just give me one reason, oh, give me just one reason why. Baby, just give me one reason, oh, give me just one reason why I should stay. Said I told you that I loved you, and there ain't no more to say.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
And we're back with Superintendent Spotlight. Pete, did you get a piece of the cake?
I did. My sugar coma is about to commence.
All right, good. That was the first thing. It was like we're sitting here in break trying to, discern what our guest is going to be for the songs while we're eating this. And I'm like,
It's
Susan,
delicious.
of course, because she's always looking out for everyone else, is like, did Pete get a piece? I'm like, well, we'll ask as soon as we get back on the air. So I'm glad to hear that.
Holy cow.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get into the year, Pete, double cheeseburger day, prime rib day, now Reese's peanut butter cup chocolate cake day.
So we've had breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert.
Yes, I was just going to say so we got to think by the end of the year we have to have a vote, right, as to what was the best food on the show. This is up there.
Yeah.
Remember Fried Twinkie Day? That wasn't bad either.
Fried
I just
Twinkie
want to
Day.
throw that out.
Yeah, it was. Fried Twinkie Day.
Yeah.
Was good.
So anyway, ladies, let's reveal that fourth song, Mrs. Dargy.
Okay, so to review, we've heard Wonderwall, Oasis, Mission Impossible theme and that was Adam Clayton and Larry Mullen.
Adam Clayton from U2.
And Larry Mullen from U2. Yeah. Best band ever. Give Me One Reason, Tracy Chapman. And the last song, which we'll hear on the way out, is Ironic, Alanis Morissette.
All right.
So
91?
All right, so Pete says 91.
Well, it's definitely
I know
later.
as well out of high school, so.
Yeah, I remember seeing Mission Impossible when I was in college. So that narrows the time down for me. I'm going to say 96.
Okay.
Mrs. Teddemer?
I was going to say 1994, but then with Mrs. Klein's clue, maybe I will say, nope, I'm going to stick with my original guess, 1994.
Okay. And Mr. Rogers.
And the second that Oasis Wonderwall came on, I said I know it already, but I could be wrong. But I'm going to go with Mrs. Klein's here. Immediately, 1996 came into my brain. Pete, and you said 91?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. The year is 1996.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
No, yeah. That was Oasis was the dead giveaway.
That was the giveaway.
Absolutely.
So if we have 2 minutes left, I think Mrs. Tedmer had one more book to share from 4th grade.
Yes.
Right?
So this book is on the country, Sweden. And she put the Swedish flag up on her cover page. And she listed some Swedish food, such as lamb. And then she talked about a lot of Swedish towns and their population. So Visby is by the Galaxy and has 24,000 people.
Wow.
Helsingborg is in southern Sweden and has 110,000 people.
And for those of you that can't see at home, when Mrs. Teddemer talked about Isby being by the Galaxy, that's an actual C, the Galaxy, not Galaxy. Okay, right? Because I'm sure there's a lot more.
That was last week. Yeah.
That was right. That was Star Wars show a couple weeks ago. Yep.
Oh, yes, that's right. And then obviously she listed Stockholm is the capital of Sweden. And on the next page, And I encourage the students to talk about like dances, customs, celebrations, food, dress. So here you can see she did different Swedish dances. The polska is a traditional Swedish dance. And then Swedish clothing. And we did talk about how most people wear clothes very similar to us, but when they're celebrating or their older dress,
Sure.
that's what they should be looking for. And then on the last page, she just kind of put the end, and that was written by Clara Potts, a fourth grader at Munger.
Very nice. No, it's just amazing work. It sounds like we've got a lot of good things going on at Munger Hill right now. As far as that attendance goes, to circle all the way back to the beginning, we got 1 month to go, so I know those numbers will continue to get better.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of good things going on at Munger Hill. I'm going to repeat that again. There's a lot of good things going on at Munger Hill Elementary School, and we're very proud of the work that's being done up there. Okay. With that said, I want to, Mrs. Dargy and I would like to thank you both for being our guests this week.
Thank you for having us.
And Mr. Coles will get this out to everybody on link soon, and so you can watch it on YouTube as well. Pete, thanks again for another great week. Let's keep this one in the back of our minds. National I Love Reese's Day and the amazing Reese's peanut butter cake.
That was awesome.
That was made for us today.
Yeah.
And we will be back next week. Same time, same channel.
Nope, earlier time.
Earlier. Oh, thank you.
You guys are on 8 o'clock.
I was going to say
of, the aviation graduation next week.
So same channel, different time.
And I will not be here. Kenny will be here.
Kenny's running the show.
Great.
Great.
I have to go to a funeral in Maine. So.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's
but
okay.
The good news is not only
You're in
can we do the show from but we're also going to have our aviation tech graduation ceremony that same day for our students in only one of 3 aviation programs in the country.
And we'll be recording that for broadcast.
Anything else, Mrs. D, before we wrap?
No, that's it.
All right, everybody.
Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah, enjoy this weather. Have a beautiful week, and we'll see everybody 1 week from today, broadcasting from...
No, I think we're doing it here.
Oh, we're doing it here? All right.
We're doing it here.
All right, from beautiful Studio 120. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
An old man turned 98. He won the lottery and died the next day. It's a black fly in your Chardonnay. It's a death row pardon, 2 minutes too late. And isn't it ironic? Don't you think? It's like rain on your wedding day. It's a free ride when you've already paid. It's the good advice that you just didn't take. And who would have thought it figures? Mr. Play It Safe was afraid to fly. He packed his suitcase, kissed his kids goodbye. He waited his whole damn life to take that flight. And as the plane crashed down, he thought, well, isn't this nice? And isn't it ironic? Don't you think? It's like rain on your wedding day. It's a free ride when you've already paid. It's the good advice that you just didn't take. And who would have thought it figures? Life is fun, worry, no sneaking up on you when you think everything's okay and everything's going right. And life is a funny way, nobody halfway, I think everything's going wrong and everything blows up in your face. A traffic jam when you're already late. A no smoking sign on your cigarette break. It's like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife. It's meeting the man of my dreams and then meeting his beautiful wife. do things.